I'm Rick Harp. This is your APTN News Brief for Wednesday, July 9th. We begin in the Yukon, where an independent review board tasked with looking into the causes of last year's Eagle gold mine disaster say a mandated review board could prevent future incidents. And it was just over a year ago that the mine experienced a heap leach failure, causing cyanide to be released into the surrounding environment. In a report released last week, the review board found multiple factors triggered the incident, including too much water accumulation within the heap. Engineer Mark Smith sat on the board and co-authored the report. At a technical briefing Tuesday, Smith said tailings dams under mandated review boards have never failed and suggests the territory form one for significant projects like the Eagle Mine.
You can manage that through the factors that we've said, we've recommended. In tailings, the failure rate, and these are harder facilities that fail more often, the failure rate of tailings dams with review boards is 0. I would think we could get to 0 or very close to 0 with review boards on heap leaching.
The federal procurement ombudsperson, Alexander Iglich, has just released their latest report. It includes a number of recommendations concerning contracts with private businesses. And among the report's calls, the establishment of a chief procurement officer, one set of rules for how the government awards contracts, and the use of artificial intelligence to modernize the system. The report also contains a section on Indigenous procurement, noting problems with the Indigenous Business Directory, for example, how businesses are verified as Indigenous, and the awarding of contracts to entities misrepresenting themselves. The Ombudsperson's office is set to release a full review of Indigenous procurement practices next March.
I can simply say that we will have a lot to say on this subject kind of in the near term, because there are issues that are reflected, both what we heard in the previous Parliament and I think what we're seeing as part of the preliminary review in our report. So please do follow that closely. We anticipate, obviously, reporting to parliamentary committees at the time of completion.
There may be changes coming to Ganowag's unregulated retail cannabis operations, and as some hope to open more shops, others have vocally opposed the idea. Savannah Craig now on the growing tensions.
I don't take any type of cannabis.
Darlene Alfred is a grandmother and a great-grandmother.
I never have, but what I was looking at was getting involved because I have a lot of grandchildren growing up.
Grandchildren that she says she's looking out for.
I wanted to see more of regulations, controlling. I didn't want it to become an industry where you have 181 stores selling cannabis products.
That's why she became a board member of Ganowag's Cannabis Council Board, or the KCCB. For the past year and a half, the KCCB has been up and running. Part of their job is to review applications for future cannabis stores.
The community is divided.
As regulation of cannabis could be in Ganowag's future, Alfred says not everyone in the community supports it.
We're telling you that you have to shut this thing down.
The regulation of retail stores in Ganowag has been on the table since the federal government legalized cannabis 8 years ago. Joe Diom is a representative of one of the longhouses in Ganowag. He says some community members are against opening up cannabis stores.
We don't want cannabis!
More than 100 people marched to the council's office to protest the issue in late April.
Our concern is the welfare of our children and our people because of the possible influx of unsavory characters.
This is my letter.
Alfred resigned from the 3-person KCCB on June 24th, citing political interference by the Mohawk Council of Ganowag. One member resigned before her, and another announced she wouldn't seek re-election when her term ended on June 24th. The key moment for why Alfred resigned was when 3 council chiefs visited a potential cannabis site without the KCCB knowing.
3 council chiefs had overstepped their boundaries and they went to a site visit, which they had no reasoning really to go. One was their portfolio, yes, but that was overstepping the boundaries of the board because of the simple fact that we don't know what transpired in there.
She says the three chiefs are Jeffrey Daibo, Jeremiah Johnson, and Yahahio DeLille.
At the beginning, when it was a secret thing. So what happened was it took us, I would say, at least 4 weeks to find out who the three were.
APTN News requested an interview with the Mohawk Council of Ganowag, but it did not respond before our deadline. APTN News spoke with Grand Chief Cody Diabo prior to Alfred's resignation, just days after enacting a 45-day moratorium on the retail sale of cannabis in Ganowag on June 11th.
We're going to try to engage with as much people as possible during that time.
The Grand Chief had vocalized his understanding to the community's protest to APTN News in April.
It's an emotional situation, rightfully so. People are worried about their children, about their daily lives. We see what's happening in other places in terms of cannabis, unregulated cannabis industries.
Despite division in the community, the council is moving forward with assembling a new board. The MCK put out a call on July 2nd, seeking 3 new individuals to serve on the KCCB. But Alfred says the council should listen to the community, which has already said no to any cannabis shops.
They have to listen to the community because we are the stakeholders of the land.
The moratorium is up on July 25th, and deadlines for new KCCB board members is July 18th. Savannah Craig, APTN National News, Ganowag, Mohawk Territory.
There appears to be no quick end in sight for Saskatchewan's extreme wildfire season. Fire crews, air tankers, and out-of-province support continue to fight some of the 68 active wildfires, 15 of them not contained, with growth still expected. Evacuations are underway in Beauval, Kineseo, Lac La Plonge Indian Reserve, and parts of Denair Beach. And the province has seen 23 evacuations already so far this year. The 5-year average, just 2. To Alberta, where the lifting of a ban on coal mining on the Rocky Mountain eastern slopes has triggered legal action. Now the Siksika Nation and the Kainai Blood Tribe in Treaty 7 territory have filed judicial review applications against the move. Both say the province removed the ban in January without consultation. Siksika councillor Samuel Crowfoot told APTN the eastern slopes are a sacred area for hunting and provide essential water. He says the nation is concerned about Alberta's decision to allow Australian-owned Benga Mining to begin exploratory drilling at the Grassy Mountain coal project site.
Siksika is not alone in this fight, and we've had to battle Alberta in many different areas. Once Alberta meaningfully starts to consult with us and meaningfully attempts to work with us, we don't always have to litigate. But unfortunately, it just seems that litigation is the only option that really gets their attention. So if that's what's required, that's what we will do.
And finally, the current premier of Nunavut has announced he won't seek re-election this fall. In a public message yesterday, PJ Agayak says the decision follows some deep reflection and many heartfelt conversations with family. The first-time MLA was elected in November 2021 in the midst of the global pandemic, a time he included among his most trying, along with the loss of some local structures to fire and ongoing water crises. As for his greatest accomplishments, Agayak pointed to the devolution agreement, returning control of lands and natural resources to Nunavut, the National Early Childhood Education Agreement, and the launch of Nunavut 3000, a plan to build 3,000 new homes across the territory. In a statement, Agayak said, quote, "I am not stepping away for another role. I am stepping away because this is the right moment to spend more time with my young family. Time that public life often demands we set aside," unquote. And Nunavut's next general election must take place no later than October 27th. And that's your APTN News Brief for Wednesday, July 9th. I'm Rick Harp.